Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I am Yoli from Yoli Haircuts and I'm so happy that you are here. As always, just a quick reminder, go ahead and press like, go ahead and subscribe, comment, and share my content, and let's build community together. Let's help each other out. So today I have a mini tutorial. I want to do a basic cut crease. I want to show you the mechanics of it, as well as how to care for your skin to do what would look like a full face, except that it's moon in Leo. And it's exciting because it's a time for release, and it's a time to really feel centered and come back home. I'm gonna talk and just share my makeup tip for showing up as you, just showing up. That is what today's new moon is about. So if you don't know, today is Thursday the 28th of January in the year 2021, and it is a wolf moon. It is a full moon, and it is a moon set in Leo. So it is cruising in the universe through the sign of Leo. Now, I'm not going to go into how it necessarily works and all that, because there's people who have accounts and do a much better job than me. So you can actually go to Moon Omens. They have a great Instagram page and a great blog, and you can read more about the moon's transit. And I would just share that I'm really excited about this moon because my daughter is a Leo and she's lots of fun. And so what I gather from this full moon in Leo is that we are finally going to be able to bring in this moon energy, this emotional energy, this harnessing of the emotions, and make it look cute and show up. And that's what I'm gathering from a lot of the blogs and just info I've been reading, that that's the way to go. So if there's someone you like, you better ask them to be your Valentine. And additionally, if there's that job you want, go get it, girl. So yeah, get that bag. So right now I did clean my face with the micellar water. It's from Tarte, and it's just a makeup remover and cleanser. And as you can see, I had a breakout. I sync up with the moon, and I think it's more subconscious than conscious, because my period is basically like on its last day. So that's awesome. And it's the full moon. So as I'm releasing, the moon is releasing its energy onto us. And so I'm like, let's just like feel a little cuter, because I'm not like feeling that cute. And I don't know about you, if you bleed, and if you don't, and you empathize. Here we go. So I cleaned my face, and now I'm gonna put some glow. What this means is that I'm gonna be using an illuminating face oil. Why? Because my skin tone is just like all over the place. Like it's really dark right here, and obviously this is like not looking too cute. So like I have a lot of like hormonal issues going on, and I usually don't wear a lot of makeup, but today I'm just gonna show you what you can do if you want to put a mask on and to show up, you know, a little cuter than you would if you didn't have it on. because you know you're cute anyway, but sometimes we need a little help. So there we go. I'm just applying the illuminating oil, making sure to get those sensitive areas. I've talked about these areas before, and just as a reminder, you want to pat or blot, never rub, never go in there. As you can see, it helps firm and tone the skin when you blot, and it also doesn't break up the collagen that's in the sensitive areas, which already, you know, go through a lot of stress in the environment and, you know, just through aging, etc. So you want to be really gentle with this area and these areas so that, you know, you can be snatched a little longer. So I normally do not like to do my eyebrows first, but because we're going dramatic, I want to set the tone. I want to feel what I'm going to grow into, right? If we're going with this whole like moon energy, let's show up. So let's show up cute. So what I'm going to do is expose both sides of my brow pencil. This is the Hourglass, and it is an arch pencil, brow micro sculpting pencil by Hourglass. Very cute. Okay, and it's dark brown. So what I'm going to do is basically begin ombreing out. So this is what I do. I like to line it and then almost like one of those like Tetris blocks, an L almost. And I'm very lightly stroking. You see that? And then again, I begin over here because we're ombreing it, and what that means is that it's going from light to dark. So as I begin to build the color, the line also begins. And then again, at the outer pupil is where you want to begin to arch. So I know mine from memory. I know it begins there, but I can also see it. So depending how dramatic you want to arch down, lightly stroking, building up color, and then coming to the underside and doing the same. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to this one, and I like to do back forth because sometimes I'm not that strong in my line work, and so I tend to like to do my left side first because it is not the strongest, and it's easier to match my right side to my left side. So now I'm just doing this, checking for composition, and I'm not tripping. I know I can see the line. I want to see the line. It's gonna get blended. Everything's gonna smooth out. It's just, this is what we're growing into. This is the frame. So I'm checking for balance. I'm digging it. Okay, next. So depending on your skin type and your skin texture, you're gonna want to use a pore minimizer. There's various types. I got most of these in my Boxycharm, and this is a hydrating primer, which is really good for aging skin, or for smokers, or for people who are around constant environmental factors that can age or impact skin, such as like you're always outside, work outside, things of that sort. So hydrating is really awesome because it will help with the elasticity and just with the upper dermis, you know, the upper cells, that upper skin layer. Then there's this one, which I'm gonna actually probably lean towards using because of the calendula. And so it's a no pore blum prime essence. So it's a primer and it's a pore minimizer. And the reason I'm leaning towards using this one is because of the calendula again. The calendula has a calming effect and a soothing effect, and because again my hormonal imbalances have led to some puffiness, my breaking out. So I just want to be very gentle on my skin, especially given, you know, the circumstances as outlined. Whenever we think of skincare and we want to do makeup, I really encourage you to address the actual problem. So whether it be a sore or a pimple or whatever it may be, you want to really make sure that it's something that should or can be covered. So proper extraction and identification of what it is very, very important before you start caking on makeup and all that crap. So just don't make your skin worse is what I'm saying. So this is the other Pore Blum primer, same brand, Touch and Soul, but I think I'm going to use both. I'm going to use this one because it's a smooth and pore covering, and mostly going to focus on this area. I don't really have textured skin, so what that means is like bumpy skin. I have aging skin, so that's why moisturizing is really important. I don't have a lot of scars, but I do have freckles. And this one's from chickenpox. So if you have more texture, for instance, like craters or different things of that sort, and you find that foundation is too cakey, perhaps using a pore minimizer and a pore smoother, combination of two, would be beneficial for you. I'm going to begin with the Calendula Prime Essence Pore Minimizer. And this one's kind of runny, just like my illuminating liquid. So again, the padding, you can see how it's moisturizing. And it's so nice. It's so cooling. And I'm being careful around my eyebrows, right? Because I just drew them on. So be very conscious of that, especially when layering. It's a lot like art. So if you've ever taken an art class, or if you haven't, or if you don't remember that going from light to dark is always best, because once you go dark, it's hard to go back in the gradient spectrum. So yeah, so there's my first layer. Already I see like the radiance. Ew. Okay, and I'm just fanning my face so that I can dry a little faster. Okay. Now I'm going to use the smooth and pore covering. And I really like this one because of the texture. So where the other one was watery, this one's more of a cream. So the viscosity is a little bit easier to work with, which allows you to distribute the product substantially easier and allows for more coverage, which is what we're looking for. So again, blotting under the eyes, and then you want to make sure you're going to prime this area, because some people like to use primer and some people don't. So if you are one of the latter, you can use this technique to create that prime foundation for your eyeshadows. Now, is all this necessary? No, not really. But you will find that you will have lasting results and your pigment just pops more. So I just find it more satisfying. and it makes me feel more accomplished. All right. So I'm making sure I get in my nose, because remember, that's where everything, foundation and all that, goes, right? And then making sure to do here, below my hairline. I don't really worry about up here too much because I have the bangs. So if I didn't have the bangs, I would go all the way to my hairline. I always just recommend wear like a hairband or something to keep your hair put back. And if you paint your hair a little bit, that's okay. It happens. So I have two options. I have Ulta's Full Coverage Liquid Concealer. And I realize I called it a primer, but it's essentially the same thing, because I'm going to use it to do all right here, because right here just looks atrocious. I look ghastly. And we have this one, which is by Makeup Forever, and it's their Ultra HD Light Capturing Self-Setting Concealer. So I like this one, and what I was told was that it goes from cream to powder. And if you're like me, I really enjoy working with powders. They are less intimidating to me. So with that being said, my Ulta concealer, full coverage concealer, is a little bit darker than my Makeup Forever. So I'm going to begin with this one. And I'm going to be generous with the under eye part and not as generous with the eyelid, because I'm going to be using more primer later for my cut crease. So for me, it's overkill, but again, it's all about taste. And so here I go. Alright, make sure I get that war paint right on there. Alright, and then now this part isn't necessary, but I like to do this because it gives me an even canvas. You see, all my humanity gets concealed. Aren't I gorgeous? Oh yes, 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 yes. So now I'm gonna grab my concealer brush, because I can't get close to my eyeballs because I'll poke them out. And that's not cute. Don't poke your eyeball out. Don't put perfume in your eye either. Oh my gosh, I did that one time on accident. Oh boy. That was painful. I'd never felt my eye be so dry before. So as you can see, I'm just tapping, 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 slowly moving the product. It's not a race. Don't get crazy and start smudging things everywhere, because that's not gonna help you. It's only gonna hinder you. And get as close to the waterline as possible. Now, if you don't know what your skin tone is, and you know what you need to get, I know it's COVID times, but ask someone at Ulta or Sephora to help you. And if not, I know there's like a lot of apps and things that are helpful in helping you achieve these things. Obviously, trial and error. For the longest time, didn't think I had red and yellow undertones. So for me, it was like really hard to find a color. And then especially I live in the Midwest, you know, Chicago. So like our temperature's crazy. And so I'm changing all types of colors all the time here in the Midwest. You know, not enough sun and then too much sun in the summer. So you can see how this really opened up my eyes, right? Like, wow, I look different almost. It's almost creepy. So just bringing the light closer. I look more natural. All right, so there we have it. I have put on my concealer. But guess what? It's still blotchy, and that's okay, right? Because that means I'm gonna move some of this excess product. So that's what you always want to do. Check. Always check. Take a selfie. Put your camera on. Take a video. Ask a friend. A real friend, not a hater. Don't let them send you off. Alright. And so slowly, ever so nicely to your eyes, begin to blend it. Because you just have excess product. And that's why this brush is very important. It's an angled brush because that way you can reach the eye. So sometimes the good old-fashioned way is the best way. And then doing this. There we go. And a little bit of that. There we go. Gorgeous, 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 darling. Yes, 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 yes. So now I need to conceal this. And because it's healed, I can add this. And I'm gonna blot. And then set it and forget it. All right. So I just realized how crusty my lips are. So I'm just gonna do a quick little scrub. I'm telling you, this month was rough. It was rough. Don't judge me. I have my scrub on. My lips are trash. They hurt. But I'm gonna go with this lipstick color because it's gonna help my lips look gorgeous and it's gonna help me feel fabulous, darling. So that's what I'm gonna do. My lipstick is so loud. I'm gonna go with my Loud palette, and my Loud palette that I love is by James Charles, and it's his Morphe palette. So it's the first one he released, and so here are my colors, all my basics. So let's dig in. FYI, little tip, if you want your eyeshadow to last a little longer, go ahead and grab setting powder and just set. Because depending on your composition, as you can see with mine, my concealer is already cut creasing. So it's a good and a bad thing because I can see where I can make my cut crease, but it tells me that the formula is reacting with my skin and becoming too oily. So to combat this, I put on the setting powder in all the areas that I put concealer. So this is gonna help it not budge. Okay, so the inspiration again is to show up, right? To show up fully and as beautifully as you can. So what that means to me is going in, even if you're scared or not sure, because the only thing you can really be sure about is yourself, right? Your skills, your assets. So with that being said, it brings me to think of a story that I wanted to share with you. And it's a reflection piece. I talk about it sometimes because sometimes it makes me sad to think about it. And it's more of an opportunity loss and a lesson. It took me, I want to say 14 years to learn this lesson, which is crazy, but better late than never, right? So when I was in beauty school, I accompanied one of my friends to a photo shoot that she had. It was like a headshot thingy, and we were on the makeup unit, and she's like, hey, you want to help me out? Do you want to do my makeup? And I was like, I mean, sure, yeah, I guess. And so I went with her, and I was just like young punk, like literally I was into punk music. I mean, I still kind of am, but I definitely was way more into it. Lifestyle, music, everything. It was awesome. It is awesome. And so I was there, and that's actually where I met her, was through the punk scene here in Chicago. So shout out to the Chicago punk scene, Latino punks for life, vatos locos. Anyway, so just to pause, what I'm doing right now is setting the stage for the colors. So keep in mind the cut crease is going to be in these areas. So these are going to be the lighter areas that pop. So what I'm doing is using my flesh tones, which is this one and a little bit of this one. And so I like that a lot. And I'm going to move on to my next color. So because I'm thinking about big, bold, bright. When I think about big, bold, bright, I think about sunsets. So I'm going to do a little bit of a sunset inspiration look. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and choose this bright orange color right here. Remember, we go from light to dark because it's easier to go darker than it is to go lighter. So, going back to my story. So I show up with her at this photo shoot. And este güero, this guy in Pilsen, he was like really awesome. And he really, really liked my work. And I was just like, huh? I'm not even lying. It was literally like the first time I ever had like a professional shoot, because I'm like 19 at this point. I don't know. Maybe 20, 18. Who freaking knows? I was young as heck, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just knew what I read in the book. Because when you're in beauty school, especially the beauty school I went to, I mean, no offense, but beauty school has changed, and sometimes for the better, a lot. And when I was in school, our floor time, we barely did anything other than, like, in my school, relaxers and perms and roller sets and just like hot, like, what's it called? Like hot, oh my God, I'm forgetting the name right now. Like when you do hot sets or whatever. That's what we did. So anyway, I had no experience doing makeup, but my friend believes in me. So I'm like, fuck it. Fake it till you make it, right? And that's what I did that day, right? So I'm like showing up, got my little school makeup thing. I don't freaking know. Or maybe her makeup. Or maybe a combination of the two. I really don't remember. But the point is that I fucking play it out. And her makeup comes out good. And he's like, you're really talented. And I'm like, huh? Oh my God. And he's like, yeah, you should come back. You should work for me. And I was like, huh? He's like, yeah, I need a makeup artist. I know people who would need a makeup artist. And I was just like humbled, but I was scared. Oh my God, I was scared. Here I was, this fucking punk ass, young ass kid. Someone saying, hey, you got talent. And I'm over here like shitting bricks, like, oh no. Don't look at me. I don't. I don't do makeup. He's like, huh? I'm like, nope, I don't do makeup. Sorry. It's like, you just did makeup. I'm like, yeah, no, but that was for my friend. And now, think about it. This is my 14th year in September. This is my 14th year of doing all this. Hair, skin, nails, barbering, etc. 14th year. And I often think now, I'm like, dang, if I would have stuck with it, where would I be? Now, I know this sounds a little sad, but it's not all that sad because it would be worse not knowing, right? It would be worse to not really just understand that you have talent and go on dismissive of your own self. And we ain't doing that no more. So that's why we're going to do some yellow. We're going to do a little pop of yellow on the top. Because we're doing these brights. Remember these explosions. Do you see the gradients? And again, when you work with good pigments and when you prep correctly, the blending is going to be minimal. Okay, and then I clean off my brush. Look at how gorgeous this is. I'm only 2 colors deep, the orange and the yellow. But now I want to bring more depth. I'm going to go a little darker in here. In order to achieve that, I'm going to be using my red. And I'm going to be using it sparingly. What that means, I'm going to use very little. And in order to achieve that, I'm switching my brush. So I was using an angled fluffy brush. As you can see. To follow the shape of my eye. But now, where is it? I look in my Barney bag and I find a lot of things. I find gizmos and gadgets and arms and ends and even some silly strings. So I asked myself a question. Which brush will I choose today? With my imagination and my Barney bag, I'll see what I can use today. And the winner is another angled fluffy brush. And with this one, I'm going to take care to only use the tip. Just a tip. In the red that I mentioned before. Over here. Like that. Just a tip. You see how it's just so bright? And then I'm going to tap. Tap. Excess product off. And inside there, very little. Again, Going in with the red. Tap if there's excess product. And then into that ridge, that socket area. And now going back into this one, because you can see that one has more pigment. So that's why it's important to build slowly. Oh my gosh, I feel so radiant, so gorgeous, so gorgeous, so gorgeous. Now I clean off my brush. Gosh, I just want to like put more yellow and So I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow. It's true. I'm gonna use the same brush that I used the red with, because remember we have orange here anyway, and it's gonna be a perfect blend, and we had red, so red and yellow make orange. So what we're gonna do is go over our previous work and build up a little bit more. Ugh, my lip is gross. Don't look at me. And then again, doing the same thing. Okay, as you can see, it's coming along, but I want to go bigger because I want to ensure that you can see the cut crease in this. So what I'm going to do is, with my fluffy brush, I'm just going to bring up this yellow. I'm not going to be scared. I'm just going to bring it up and pack it in. Then same thing, gonna bring it up, checking for balance and symmetry. I don't get too worried about messiness because, in my opinion, it's all part of the creative process. So as long as you follow the rules, right? So if you're creating a crescent shape on this eye, create that same crescent shape on the other eye. Okay, so I finished with my yellow. Now I'm gonna go in with my orange and I'm packing it on. Beautiful. Now I'm gonna go in with my red, and this is where I begin. To blend and pack. Same thing on the other side, blend and pack. I'm mostly worried about pigment distribution and balance at the moment than blending, because the blending comes. So now I check for balance. I like my eyes to be more cat eyes, so that's why I like to go in this manner. And there we go. Okay, I'm gonna erase a little bit of my mistake with some yellow because it's still not too late. And now I'm gonna go back with a little bit of red and fix this area. Checking for balance. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for this one. Bring up the yellow. So I work in to out. From yellow to orange to red. So what I like to look for is circles and circles and circles. All right, so I have the reds, the oranges. Now it's time for the pinks. So in order to achieve that look, I'm gonna go with a little bit more of the purples here. And what that's gonna do is set a basis for my pink. So I'm gonna go more with this fuchsia color, and I'm gonna pack it into the corner. You see that? How it adds that depth. Again, more fuchsia because it's a transition color, and I'm packing it in. Now I'm gonna go in with a little blue, but I am gonna switch up my brush. So remember, the cut crease is mostly about creating that clean line, and then that whatchamacallit, like gradients. So it's up to you how much of a cut crease you want. I'm a little bit of a drama queen, so we'll see, because I want to keep adding colors. As you can see, they're not completely blended, but I am getting a degree of variance. The top layer of stuff. So it's really important that you pack your layers correctly. You see how it's looking better? So I'm not gonna worry about it, because I'm gonna use this to my advantage, because as you can see this side, it builds up into this too. So what I'm gonna do is address it. How do I address it? I'm gonna go a shade darker. Remember that fuchsia color I talked about earlier, that we used earlier? I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. And I'm gonna fill in this area, and now I'm using my triangular angled brush, and I'm tapping, and I'm reestablishing that depth, but also that shape, because it did get erased. So because of that, I'm gonna go back into my yellow now, and then go back and cover. A little quick tip. I like to reuse my brush. I know you should clean it properly, but the way I clean it in the meantime is to get a towel, like a cotton towel or something that has a lot of like fiber on it. It's kind of just rough, and then you clean the brush off. So that's what I'm doing down here. I'm just cleaning off my brush, and you can see it's not completely clean because obviously the pigments from prior, but it's nice. So I'm gonna go in again now with my fuchsia. Go in, and of course one eye is always gonna look better than the other, so you just have to make the other eye be, is it fraternal or maternal twin? I don't know. But you want them to match as much as possible, right? Okay, so now we have this purpley color blending into the yellowy color, and kind of that wing definition, because I do want to emphasize that. And then I'm gonna go in now and get a little bit dramatic, changing my brush up from this awesome to this other awesome. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm gonna clean up in here, start cleaning up the edges with glitter. So I'm taking some of my golden, because I don't want to go too light, right? Like, that's just gonna be too much of a transition, too much of a pop, and that's just, we're not there yet, you know? So what I'm gonna do is clean up the bottom. And you see how this starts to blend? Again, going back with my gold, both sides. And I'm just blending it, that yellow into the eyebrow. Checking for balance. Do you see the gold in there? It's so pretty. I feel like I need to bring a little bit of this yellow up somewhere in back, and I'm dabbing. I'm gonna just bring some of that yellow up. Now I clean my brush, go back and grab more of the gold on the tip, just the tip. And then, there we go. Look at that luminescence. Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna do Le Pièce de Résistance. The reason why you probably even clicked on this is the cut crease. So I'm gonna take my lighter shade, which in this case is my Makeup Forever Ultra HD concealer, and I'm using the wand. And earlier I did note how the crease is there and the crease is there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow it, and I'm gonna begin from the corner, and I'm gonna build it up.
Tener que olvidarte de ser al menos el frío en la cara. Me recuerda que estoy viva, nuestro bienestar hunde sus raíces, en la agonía de los sin suerte, Ni siquiera nuestra vida está llena, porque se nutre de dominio y de muerte.
Ah! Whoops. I recently bought this. It's from SUVA Beauty. I had received a palette, not this one, but a palette prior to this one. A really beautiful palette that I was just impressed with. And one night, I was not able to sleep, and I started searching the internet, and I looked up SUVA Beauty, and then I found this awesome, beautiful woman and mother and wife, and she is the creator of SUVA Beauty, and she created it in her dorm. And what I love about this is that it has water capacity and matte. So these are toppers and they can go anywhere. So I'm going to finish my look with this palette. So I'm going to use the UV glows to make this pop a little bit more and bring out a little bit more of the colors. So for this, I will be using the micellar water to makeup remover. And I'm going to be using this LSD pink, this neon ass pink, and I'm carefully, let's see, let me angle you a little better. you have a healthy amount and you take out the excess. You begin at the root and pull up. You gotta let it dry in between. Don't be scared to insert and pull up. Insert and jiggle up. And then the corners, same. Insert, jiggle up. Insert, jiggle up. Same for this. Insert, jiggle up. The jiggling separates them and makes them look fuller. And the same for the bottom. Don't be afraid to use the tip. Awesome. I'm loving this look so far. So I'm just going to put the finishing touches, which are a little bit of contour. And for that, I have my CoverFX contouring palette. I got it from one of my Boxycharm subscription boxes. So I'll be using this one right now for the blush. It's one of my favorites, and it gives a nice pop. So you can see that. And I'm not scared to go big because, again, I have a lot going on. Okay, and then again, grabbing an ample amount and just going big. I know it seems like a lot, and normally it would, but this is a Leo moon, and we're showing up. So what I'm going to do now is get a little bit of my contour, which is the dark color. Same brush. Do that. And then same thing, the brown. And then a little bit right there. Oh, my bad. I messed up. So gonna use highlighter now. Highlighter. And then finishing powder at the end. Finishing powder. You see how it dulls? Some of that blush. And I'm gonna go in with more highlighter. To give that illusion of radiance. So now I'm going to go back with my fluffy brush and add another layer of setting powder. And lastly will be my lips. So I'm going to grab more of the banana setting powder and just slightly stroke. cut crease, my pop of color for this Leo full moon. And now I just gotta adjust my lips. So what I'm gonna do is now dab them clean. During the whole makeup application, I left the lip scrub on. And so it seems to have done a good job. So that's good news, because what that means is that I can go in with the lip liner like this one, and it's red, so I'm using it to line and denote how my lips are going to be shaped, because remember I had that blemish happening earlier.